Hi, Jen here from Jen Michelle Coaching, and today I'm going to talk about how not to give advice to a masculine partner or to just a masculine energy man for those of you that are really interested in this sort of dance between the masculine and feminine. I want to take a dive into just how a man receives advice and feedback and to set yourself up well so you're speaking your truth, but you're also being deeply considerate and aware of how this will best be received and understood within your situation. For those of you new to my channel, I would love to invite you to subscribe. I release a video weekly. So let's get started. Number one, I had to learn this lesson the hard way because I used to just love to give advice, right? Unsolicited. And I realized quickly in my first year of marriage that that was not going to go too well with him, right? So if he was sharing something with me, I was so in my masculine at that time of my life that I would immediately want to go into fix-it mode where you should do this, you should tell him that, or just take it there, right? I didn't allow him the freedom, and I didn't have the trust and respect at that time to really feel into the fact that he's a grown man and he's just sharing with me what the situation is. And he has not asked for advice or help or assistance of any kind. And so to not just start chiming in with this kind of unsolicited advice. So what I do instead, when he is sharing something, I sometimes will ask for clarity, like, do you want my opinion? Or do you want me to give you some ideas? Or are you looking just to share and for me to listen? And he can give me clarity around that. And sometimes he'll say that he's open to hearing, what I think on it or what comes to me. And then within that, I still am being very respectful and honoring the fact that he makes great choices and he makes good decisions. And I'm being very well aware of any rigidity I'm holding around feeling like there's only one way to get there, when really there's always 20, 30 different paths to most problems in terms of getting to that solution, right? So I'm keeping all of that in mind. And then I'm also conveying things like, I trust you to make the right decision, whatever you think is best. I prefer this, yet, understand if it has to go the other way, whatever feels authentic to me. Or let's say it's something where I feel really uncomfortable. I would just sort of share that doesn't feel right to me. That feels really uncomfortable. And I give him that feedback. And with a healthy masculine partner, he can hear that and adjust accordingly. And let's say he can't, then it comes time to set a boundary. Like, I can't. That doesn't work for me. I can't do that because it doesn't feel safe. But you're not going into over-explaining or justifying your viewpoint, right? So you're giving the healthy masculine an opportunity to just share with you or just to resolve whatever it is on his own so he feels confident in his leadership skills versus putting in the more disempowered role of feeling like he's got to run it by mom or you as the expert first, therefore disempowering himself and kind of cutting him off from that masculine space, which is designed to solve problems, come up with a solution, and feel confident to lead in these ways, right? We don't want to cut a man off from that. Number two, support his thinking. And this means like when he is sharing the solution or when he is sharing his line of thinking, of course, this is as long as it's like not dangerous or something that's going to put you at risk in any way, emotionally, spiritually, physically, but he is sharing his thinking and maybe it's not the way you would do it, but it's still a good path. It's still a good, option, and you can follow his thinking and you want to support this. Yeah, I like that. That's a really great idea. Or I love the way in which you've approached that. Or I know that you've got this, right? You're supporting his thinking, not saying, well, let me tweak this. Or if I were you, I would do this. And just, you're really opening up to the main point that he is coming up with a solution. It's a good one. Maybe it's not the exact way you would have done it, but you're recognizing when you need to loosen some of your own sort of control mechanisms and put a deeper trust and faith in him, recognizing that this is going to empower and inspire him to continue to lead and step up more. Number 3, support his leading, right? So often we will say that we want him to lead, but then we don't see all the ways in which we start leading, and we don't actually give him the space to lead and take on that role. And so this can require us to sometimes have to go through some discomfort, which means when I started doing this within my relationship, that ball had to sit flat on the floor, like nobody was picking the ball up, because I was so much in that leadership role and I was so over functioning and overdoing that when I found awareness and when I saw how much I was doing, I had to really overcorrect and leave that ball just sitting there. And it did sit there very uncomfortably for at least 2 weeks before there was the tiniest inkling of him picking it up. And then that wasn't 100% smooth. But after a full month of leaving the ball on the floor and just putting trust and faith in his leadership, he slowly began to lead. And I could have easily, created a bad situation had I tweaked that leadership that was beginning to come through. But instead, I was able to recognize that while this isn't the way I would have done it, it's still a beautiful solution and I'm open to it. And I began to soften and relax and sink into more of that feminine space and realize, oh my gosh, this feels so much better. To not be in that fix-it mode, to not be in that doing what's next space, and just to relax and feel feminine and feel free inside my body again. And this is something that I continue to build and create within my life as a whole, but within my marriage and with my family. So just kind of give yourself that freedom to play in this way and move through some of that discomfort, because so often we don't give him a leadership role because we're scared of emotions that we may have to feel when we see what is, when we face the truth in this way to see what's possible. So I invite you to practice this, and I would love to hear in the comments what comes up for you too if you do this. I would love to also invite you to check out my website, jenmichellecoaching.com. I have my group waitlist back up. We begin this summer. Please join us. This is a beautiful foundational program. We have 8 weeks together of taking a deep dive into healing relationships in any stage, whether it's dating, or just a long-term relationship or marriage. We go into deep inner work to draw out and really magnetize the life that's meant for us, whether it be related to love or life as a whole. So you can check out everything on my page regarding this program. I've linked it below, and wishing you all a beautiful week. See you next week. Bye.